Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name is Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top stories today. For nearly a week now, law enforcement and volunteers have been working tirelessly to find victims of the devastating Central Texas flooding. At least 150 are still missing, 120 have died. And amidst the rescue work, questions are now rising to the surface over the steps taken before that wall of water came. Lee Waldman has more from Kerrville.
We have large debris piles. And we ask them not to use heavy equipment to take down those debris piles until they've been checked by a search party, because it's possible there are victims in that debris pile.
It's a sobering reminder of the heartbreaking reality across the Texas Hill Country. At least 120 are dead. Even more are missing after a historic 4th of July flood.
It's going to be a slow, methodical process that's going to take us, days, if not weeks, I think, to really provide, the answers that everyone's looking for.
All the while, questions over why there was a delay in issuing a code red alert, a mass notification system used by some communities to send emergency alerts to residents' phones. Kerr County officials took nearly 6 hours to send the alert after it was requested by a firefighter. That's according to audio from a dispatcher obtained by CNN affiliate KSAT.
I believe those questions need to be answered to the family of the missed loved ones, to the public. Please understand that. We're not running, we're not going to hide from everything. That's going to be checked into.
While this community is faced with the Herculean task of rebuilding, stories of everyday heroes are emerging.
We got everybody out. We knocked on everybody's door. And that took us about 10 minutes to get everybody out. And then we started hooking up the tractor to the trailers. And we grabbed one, and the wall just came.
In Kerrville, Texas, I'm Lee Waldman.
Closer to home, ICE agents in Omaha Wednesday arresting who they say is a gang kingpin. Government officials did not release the individual's name. They did say he's wanted for aggravated homicide of 5 people, among other crimes in his home country. The person is claimed to be among El Salvador's top 100 most wanted fugitives. Authorities tell us an associate, Rene Saul Escobar Ochoa, also arrested as a known MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist wanted in El Salvador. The men were arrested without incident in what the Homeland Security Investigations Department describes as a targeted action. Authorities say the two had embedded themselves in the Omaha area. An eastern Nebraska man facing attempted murder charges related to a road rage incident. 28-year-old Brent Swigert of Plattsmouth arrested following an investigation into an incident on Highway 75 near Bellevue last week. Authorities say he sideswiped another driver and fired a gun, shattering the other driver's window and embedding a bullet in their headrest. Swigert faces 4 felonies. He's being held on $5 million bond. A South Central Nebraska man convicted of murder might be getting a new trial. A Nuckolls County judge on Wednesday scheduled a hearing next month for 31-year-old Sebastian Dunbar. He was convicted of first-degree murder last week related to the 2023 shooting death of 35-year-old Molly Gruber. 3 days later, Dunbar's attorney asked for a new trial. Dunbar's attorney wrote that potential additional evidence was made available the day Dunbar was convicted. A hearing on a possible retrial will be held August 28th. Now, the company looking to build a wind farm in Cherry County now has 30 days to respond to findings saying they can't build one. A conditional use permit was issued 6 years ago for the wind farm about 25 miles west of Valentine. It expired in October of last year. The Cherry County zoning administrator did an investigation. They found BSH Kilgore didn't meet all the conditions required under the permit. The company has publicly stated they disagree with those findings. Now they're within a window to get back to the county board, who could revisit the matter then. A major highway reconstruction project in northeast Nebraska is being undertaken with care to protect an important archaeological site. Hanky Hazelton has more.
With U.S. Highway 275 set to expand from 2 to 4 lanes near Nebraska Highway 15, an archaeological dig has been sparked at the historic Sharp homestead. Built in the 1800s, state archaeologists raced to uncover artifacts that revealed what life was like back then.
We found lots of brick fragments, both regular bricks and kind of the hollow fire bricks from structures that were at the site, nails. We found a few marbles, which are really interesting. We found some bones from what they're eating, lots of glass from glass bottles and windows.
Since excavations began in April, the Historical Society has been working around the clock, but the sheer volume of the artifacts uncovered at the Sharp homestead means they're still processing the finds.
There's thousands of artifacts to go through. Some of it, like all the brick fragments, for example, we're going to weigh, and so we know how much and where they're from, but we're not going to keep those. But all the rest of the artifacts we'll keep and clean up and then count and weigh and try to figure out dates and use and anything we can learn about them.
The Nebraska State Historical Society is also crafting a plan to share the captivating history of the Sharp homestead uncovered in Stanton County and how life was during that time.
Everything gets labels in plastic bags and nice boxes so somebody can find something they want to find. And it'll stay here. We have a big collections room. Our museum is working on exhibits, so that's really exciting. And they certainly do use archaeological collections in the exhibit so everyone can see them.
In Lincoln and Stanton County, Hanky Hazelton, News Channel, Nebraska.
The Nebraska Game and Parks is looking for anyone who wants to help conservation in the state. Jake Bartecki has more.
Nebraska Game and Parks is looking to the public to help maintain a healthy and huntable wild turkey population. To do so, they're asking the public to report wild turkey sightings across the state in July and August.
Really appreciating any bit that people can participate with helping us better understand the distribution and density of turkeys across the state.
Carly Celine Gazelle is the Wild Turkey Program Manager for Game and Parks and says citizen reporting is crucial as it helps Game and Parks understand populations in areas where they may not be able to survey. She says the July-August period is good for surveys. It's the period when hens are teaching poults how to forage, roost, and fend for themselves. It's also easier to depict a hen from a poult. If
you get into September, October, those poults, those young of the year, are large enough that they can be difficult to distinguish from hens or toms when they're not in strut from far away.
When it comes to what Game and Parks hopes to learn, Gazelle says they want to see high numbers of toms and poults.
Even though turkeys are polygynous, meaning, one tom can create broods with many females, it's important to have a still somewhat high ratio of toms to hens to maintain genetic diversity. So we want to make sure that ratio isn't too low. And then poults per hen, the more young of the year a hen has with her, the better odds that can mean for future population.
In Beatrice, Jake Bartecki, News Channel, Nebraska.
A popular recreation spot in Kearney getting a facelift thanks in part to a sizable donation from a national tennis organization. The tennis courts at Harmon Park set to be resurfaced this summer. The price tag's about $50,000, but the U.S. Tennis Association's Missouri Valley section is helping foot the bill. The organization presented a check of almost $32,000 to Kearney City Council this week. That leaves the city to cover the remaining balance of about $18,000. The group's executive director said Kearney's tennis community is energetic and growing, with local tennis officials saying the courts have seen a recent uptick in usage. The resurfacing scheduled to begin July 21st and be done by mid-August, weather permitting. Well, it's county fair season, and while the funnel cakes and corn dogs are a big draw, kids sometimes more excited to show off their calves. At the Madison County Fair, the 4-H bucket calf competition being held for ages 7 through 12. It's split into 3 competitions designed to teach kids basic management of their calves, not just showing them off, but also in knowledge and record taking. Ann Grant of Madison has her 3 kids in the event, and she says she loves the life skills that they're developing.
I showed hogs growing up, but my husband showed cattle. And so he knew that this was something that we wanted up to try and experience.
I like getting ribbons at the end and showing off my animals and just having a fun time with my cousins and my friends.
Plenty of other 4-H competitions at the fair underway, from dogs to hogs. The winners will be announced Friday afternoon and have the opportunity to compete at the Nebraska State Fair. Madison County Fair itself continues through Sunday. And a small group of volunteers is taking on a big task, ensuring that veterans in north central Nebraska are remembered with honor. Casey Wandenberg takes us to Valentine, where history and gratitude are being preserved, one marker at a time.
You could spend hours walking through a cemetery.
It's just basically the history of Cherry County.
Learning about the lives of those laid to rest here.
Like a high school sweethearts.
Many of the stories lost over the years, including information on veterans from World War I to Operation Iraqi Freedom, who served and sacrificed for our country.
We need to remember them.
That's why Karen Potter and other members of the American Legion Auxiliary Unit in Valentine,
And this is how the new ones look.
have raised money to replace damaged or missing markers on veterans' graves at Mount Hope Cemetery in Valentine.
A veteran, whether they passed away in action or they just served their time, I mean, they gave tremendous sacrifices for us, and so we can't take that for granted.
Michelle Garwood knows many of the names etched into these stones,
This is my grandpa on my dad's side.
but she knows even the most personal stories can slip away without someone to carry them forward.
As members of the younger generation, having deep roots here, it's really important for us as family members start to pass away that we carry on the tradition and honor our veterans.
That's why this small group hopes these simple markers spark something. A pause, a moment of thanks, a feeling of respect and remembrance.
That they think about what those veterans been through.
That they're not forgotten. While the American Legion Auxiliary has raised enough money for markers for this cemetery, they'll also be fundraising for additional cemeteries throughout Cherry County. You can find contact information under this story at newschannelnebraska.com. Reporting in Valentine, Casey Wandenberg, News Channel Nebraska.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com. Click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X. Like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. This is News Channel Nebraska.